here I come with braces and like all this acne. I was very insecure about my acne. Like, your 20s are old in the modeling industry. I'm like, I'm young, like I'm literally a child. Like, this career field is hard. It will chew you up and spit you out. Existing as a Black woman in the modeling industry is a struggle in itself, and I'm gonna tell you why. Hey guys, it's Thomasina. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new and have no idea who the heck I am, my name is Thomasina and I am a model and content creator, among other things, living in New York City. And on my channel, I mostly share days in my life living in my 20s in New York City. I give tips on how to move to New York City and how to become a model. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, be sure to subscribe to my channel. So today's video, I'm gonna chat with you guys. It's gonna be a sit-down chit-chat video. I don't do a lot of these. Most of my videos are vlogs, but every now and then I like to hop on here and answer some common questions that I get either on my channel or on Instagram. I get so many people in my DMs telling me like how much they want to be a model and like it's always been their dream. And most of the time they're usually just highlighting like the glitz and the glam that they see maybe on Instagram or on TikTok. They're looking at the Bella Hadids, the Gigi Hadids, the Kendall Jenners of the world, and they think that that is what modeling is all about, and it's honestly not. So in today's video, I'm gonna talk to you guys about the things that I have struggled within the modeling industry, the things that I have had to work through and kind of overcome in order to have some kind of success in my modeling career. If you guys are interested in learning more about what I've struggled with within the modeling industry, keep watching this video. So one thing I really struggled with in the modeling industry, and even still to this day sometimes, was my acne. So I started officially in the industry when I was like 13, and I had acne like most of my life. And so I was competing with girls who had like baby smooth face, clear skin, like no blemishes, and here I come with braces and like all this acne, and it made it very, very hard for me. Within the modeling industry, most agencies and clients want people who just have naturally clear skin. They want a picture perfect canvas to work on. And so when you're entering the industry with all this acne, it makes people not want to work with you. So I was very insecure about my acne. Even in some of my videos nowadays, I still talk about getting random breakouts and like trying to clear my skin. And it made it very hard for me. And it wasn't until maybe like 2020 when I was exposed to clients that started booking models with acne. Like, they were literally asking for models with acne to showcase maybe like the pimple patches or to showcase specific products that were made for people with acne. So I would be booking makeup campaigns with my acne so that they can show like a before and after, like, this is how good our product is. Look at this model with all this acne, and look at her with the makeup on, and now you can't tell that she has acne at all. So even though having acne was very difficult in the beginning of my career, once clients started actually asking for models with acne, having acne became a little beneficial in that sense. And sorry if it's loud, they're doing some kind of like construction outside my apartment. It's obnoxious, but there were some points where, you know, my agent wouldn't want to send me to places because I was having a breakout. And these are things that like sometimes you can't control. You know, I drink a lot of water, I eat fairly healthy, I cut out dairy completely, but you still have sometimes hormonal imbalances and chemical imbalances in your body that sometimes you just can't help. And so it was frustrating for me to not be submitted for jobs for something that I couldn't even help. Another thing that I struggled with within the modeling industry was dealing with my hair. So when I first started as a model, I had a lot of hair and I was natural. So my hair wasn't always straight. Most of the time it was in its natural state. I used to wear like either like a curly fro or like a blown out fro. And when I would get booked for fashion shows and stuff, my mom would have to like prep my hair before going to set because we knew like they wouldn't be able to manage it correctly because it was just so thick, and a lot of times they didn't hire hairstylists that were well versed in doing black hair or textured hair. And the fact that I would be getting compensated the same as other models but doing more work because I had to prep my hair before coming to set, whereas other models, they just wash their hair and show up and they get their hair done. That was not the case for me. And then at the times when they did do my hair on set, they were putting a whole bunch of like product in my hair that was just like products that I wouldn't naturally use, and I was young at this time, so I wasn't like speaking up for myself. And thankfully the industry is changing. They are now hiring hairstylists and makeup artists that are more equipped and knowledgeable on how to handle black skin and black hair. But when I first started out, that was just not common. So I did not cut my hair for modeling specifically, and I did not cut my hair because of all the damage, but I would say that cutting my hair was an amazing decision for my career because it just made set life a lot easier. I show up and I only have to go into the makeup chair, so it cuts down the amount of time that I'm in hair and makeup. Something else that was a struggle for me within my modeling career was my height. So many of you guys are curious about how tall I am, and I don't think I've ever officially answered the question. Some of you who have seen me in person in New York, so you can probably guess how tall I am. I think before the pandemic, when I was going to see agencies in person, they wouldn't even like take me seriously. They wouldn't even like look at me seriously. I would walk through the door, even with my heels on, like they could tell like, oh, she's not tall enough. I would hear that dialogue all the time, like, you're too short, you're too short. Even though my runway walk was better than probably half the girls that I was up against because I was shorter and a bit stockier because I was shorter, that was a major hindrance for me. And it wasn't until the pandemic, I feel like, where agencies started taking me a little bit more seriously because I had built my portfolio. They saw that I could take pictures. They saw me in person and saw my personality was amazing, and that maybe my height wasn't such a big factor if I focused on things outside of runway. When I first started modeling, runway was like my target. It was my end goal. It was all I wanted to do. But I had to realize that because I'm not that runway height, I had to put my skills elsewhere. Where else could I be a fit as a model? And so once I learned to do that, then the agencies started taking me more seriously and saw dollar signs for me, because that's why they're gonna sign you. They want to know that you can make the money. But even still to this day, I mean, thankfully I'm with Wilhelmina now, so I don't really care, but there are other agencies that even in 2022 would turn me down because I am a shorter girl. But if you're watching this and you feel like you are too short to model or too big to model or too thin to model, for me, there's no such thing as too anything. You have to own yourself, own your character traits, own your qualities, and make them work for you. I think anything is possible if you want it badly enough, and I wanted to be a successful model badly enough that I did not allow people telling me that I was too short to stop me from pursuing my goals. Speaking of owning your character traits, another thing that was a struggle for me within the modeling industry was my body shape and my body type. Growing up, I was pretty athletic. I've always been an athlete, so I was muscular. I didn't really have a lean build. Most of the models, again, that I was competing against were super tall and super slim. I was on the shorter end and I was muscular, so my build was just not the body composition of like your typical model, especially back in the day. And so that was something that was really a hindrance for me. Mind you, for regular like American standards, I was still considered thin, but within the modeling industry, I would be told that like my hips were too big, my thighs were too big, like, oh, you're too thick. But then I go to my family like, oh, I'm thick, and they're like, what? Girl, you look like a toothpick. So it's so like your body composition is so different in the modeling industry compared to just like everyday life, and so it really distorts your idea of like what you actually look like. And so that was really tough for me to come to terms with that. And I think even still to this day, I do have some kind of body dysmorphia disorder, undiagnosed. I'm self-diagnosing myself with that, but I think my view of myself is a bit distorted just because I've been in the industry so long, and I went from being told like, oh, you're too thick, to, oh, like, don't lose any more weight. So it's hard, and you have to find that happy medium, that happy balance. You have to be happy with what you look like. Me, I love my body now, but I also realize that sometimes there are times where I'm like, oh my God, I look so big today. And my friends are like, you literally look the same size as you did 3 months ago. I think coming into the modeling industry, you definitely have to have a lot of confidence in yourself, and you have to be sure of yourself, because so many people are going to be telling you a lot of conflicting things, and it's going to confuse you, and it's going to distort the image of yourself. So I think having a strong understanding of like who you are, what you look like, what you like is so important. And I did not have that when I first got into it, because I was young and like I was still learning myself, so I had no idea. But yeah, because I was on the more athletic side and I was on the thicker side, it's hard to gain the interest of agencies that had not yet achieved the amount of inclusivity that we have today. Oh, this one, you guys, this one. This is something that I am still struggling with. Another hard thing about the modeling industry is ageism. You guys, people make me feel so old. And I'm in my like early 20s. Like, your 20s are old in the modeling industry. I think a lot of agencies like to recruit girls that are like 15, maybe sometimes even 14, so that they can like groom them, not like sexually groom them, but like kind of start their careers early, if that makes sense. So when you come into the industry, maybe in your 20s or your 30s, like you automatically have those cards stacked against you because they consider you old. I had an agent that told me it would be hard to get me signed other places because of my age. I have never been insecure about my age before, because I'm like, I'm young, like I'm literally a child. But that agent made me feel so insecure about my age, and my birthday would come around and I would be sad because I'm like, dang, I'm getting old, like nobody's gonna want me anymore. Okay, even if I was 30, if I don't look 30, why does it matter? I have to remind myself that I'm not old. It's literally just the culture. Within the modeling industry, if you are older than like 23, they will definitely make you feel old, because again, you're working with girls that are starting early and they're like 16, 17, 18, and then you come in as a 23-year-old or a 20 something, they do see you as older, and it's so unfortunate, but that's the name of the game. Another thing that I struggled with within the modeling industry, that was very frustrating, was the lack of a response or the lack of feedback that comes with this job. So I feel like when you work like a regular 9 to 5 or regular like corporate job, you have like KPIs that you have to meet. You will have like one-on-ones with maybe a supervisor or your boss or something, but those one-on-ones provide opportunity for you to get feedback. The people on your team are going to tell you whether or not your project sucked or whether like you did a great job. Regardless, you're getting some kind of feedback. Whereas in the modeling industry, you literally don't get feedback. You can ask for it, like 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to get a response, but there's just a lack of feedback. And what I mean by this is, before I got signed, when I was constantly submitting to agencies online, you submit your stuff, and if they are interested, then they will reach out to you. If they're not interested, it's just crickets. You don't get a rejection email, like you don't hear anything. And so you assume, okay, I haven't heard from them, they're not interested, let me apply again in another 3 months. You do it again, no feedback. You have to kind of guess what changes you need to make them interested in you the next time around. It would be nice to have a reason as to why, but most of the time you're not going to get that. So you kind of have to play around with either your appearance. You have to figure out what to adjust, and hopefully the next time you apply they will be interested. But the thing is, you never know, because you never hear anything. Same thing when you actually are a working model and you're working with these clients. Some will book you again and some will not. And if they don't book you again, you don't know why. Were you too talkative? Were you not able to pose? Were you doing this? Were you doing that? You don't know because there is never any feedback. So for me, I started asking for feedback from my photographers. So the people that were helping me build my portfolio, most of the time they never had feedback for me, but I would still ask because that is how you get better, that is how you improve. But generally speaking, across the board in the modeling industry, there's very little space for feedback or response to anything. Like, everybody just makes it seem like they are so busy to be able to give feedback to everyone who asks for it. And you know, maybe they are, but that is just one of the many downfalls to being a model. My last two things, another struggle that I've had in the modeling industry and probably will continue to have, is just the fact that I am Black. Existing as a Black woman in the modeling industry is a struggle in itself, and I'm going to tell you why. Like most spaces in America, they're predominantly white spaces. The modeling industry is predominantly white, and if you look at the boards of these agencies, most of the boards are predominantly white, unless they are agencies that are specifically catered to people of color. So with that being said, they can have, you know, 5 white, brunette, brown-eyed girls on their board, and 1 Black girl. And if I apply to the agency to be maybe the second Black girl, I would get rejected because they already have one of me. They've met their quota with that just token 1 Black model. And so I found, at one point I was bald and blonde, so when I would apply to agencies, if they already had a bald, blonde, Black girl on their board, I would get rejected. I had an agency quite literally tell me, oh yeah, we already have one of you. We already have one of you. That was all they needed. Then I got rid of the blonde and I was just bald, and would still get rejected if agencies already had another bald Black model. Yeah, as a Black model, you feel like you are just kind of like the token Black model, and that these agencies and clients have like a quota to fill, and once they've met that quota, they are capped on the amount of Blackness they want to see and use. As agencies and clients and brands are becoming more inclusive, you see the desire to want to use models of color increasing, but again, slowly but surely. So there's still those times where I am just the token model, the token Black model. I am just the one that they are using to meet their quota, and after that, they are done. And so I'd like to reach a point in the industry where using models of color is the norm, and not to put on a show or not to seem woke or not to seem inclusive. I just want it to be like normal. I feel like I've been rambling for far too long. So the last struggle, granted this is not inclusive of everything that I've struggled with in the modeling industry, but this is just like giving you guys a little sneak peek, giving you guys a little inch. The last thing that I've struggled with in the modeling industry is creating genuine friendships, you guys. People are always so surprised when I say I don't have a lot of model friends, because they're like, that's your work? How do you not have friends like in your work environment? But it is actually very hard. And of course, I'm gonna tell you why. From my experience, a lot of people, especially in New York, are just looking for the next come up. So you have a lot of people that will want to be friends with you just to try to figure out who you know or what you know, and how they can know who you know and what you know. And I don't like that. I'm very big on vibes, and it's very easy for me to tell when someone is trying to be my friend to use me. And so I stay clear of that. I don't rock with that. And it is all too common, especially in the modeling industry and especially in New York, and I think LA too. I'm sorry you guys, that beeping is so annoying. I don't know how long they're gonna be doing this construction, but they need to wrap it up. Another reason why for me personally it's been hard to make friends in the modeling industry is that I don't know if this is a trait of models in particular or just everybody post-pandemic, but everybody's so flaky. Like, I am a friends girl. I love having friends. I love having girlfriends. I really wish that I had more friends, but I don't do the flakiness. You'll like hang out with someone one time and be like, oh, like let's do it again, and then they never hit you up again. At first I was like, dang, is it me? But like, no, I'm an awesome person. And my friends, my actual friends, my real friends have vouched that like, no, I'm an amazing person. I don't know if it's just like New York City or like the modeling industry in general, but like people are just so flaky. But I also think that people are dealing with their own ish, and sometimes you just don't want to hang out with people, sometimes you just don't want to be around people. But it also would be nice to have a set group of friends in the industry, because we share similar experiences. You know, we know what we're going through, we know how to support each other during the dry seasons. I just feel like, you know, it's nice to have friends in your workspace, in your career field. But I do have a couple of like genuine friendships, but I guess I'm being greedy and I'm just like, I want more. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for some of the things that I've struggled with within the modeling industry, just to show you guys that it is not all glitz and glamour. Like, this career field is hard. It will chew you up and spit you out if you do not have the grit to stick it out and really just keep working for what you want. Like, you will fail, you will be depressed, you will be insecure, and it will be very, very hard for you. So I share these things with you guys, not to scare you or to put a bad taste in your mouth about the modeling industry, but to be real with you guys and to be honest with you guys. I think a lot of people are just so caught up in what they see on Instagram and TikTok and social media in general that they forget that we are like real people who have real struggles just like any other career field. So I hope that this video provided a little bit more insight into what some models actually go through in the realm. And of course, it's not all bad, but I did want to show you guys the other end of the spectrum. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and comment down below if you want to see more videos like this where I give further insight into what really goes down in the modeling industry. Let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!